All right, welcome back. Today we're talking about how to stand out in a saturated market. And I'm here with Stetson Patton. Now, if you don't know Stetson, you got to follow her on Instagram, first of all. And Stetson is a seasoned social media strategist and consultant with nearly 20 years of experience in the digital marketing space. She specializes in helping small businesses and personal brands elevate their online presence. And she crafts customized, impactful strategies that really resonate with your audiences around the world. She's the founder of Socially Stetson, and she's the host of the awesome Socially Stetson Podcast. It is a great show. You'll want to subscribe to that. And there she combines insightful business strategies with faith-based principles. Hello. Thank you, Jesus. And she guides her clients and her listeners toward achieving not just digital success, but personal fulfillment. So let's welcome Stetson to the show.
Yes. Thank you, Judy. You look beautiful, by the way. You look absolutely stunning.
Oh my goodness. You are too kind. And look who's talking, gorgeous lady of God.
Thank you
All
so much.
right. You're welcome. So listen, tell us if you would, how you got into this space, because 20 years in the digital world, like that's a lot.
I
So
know,
where
right
did
when
this
it came
start?
out.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny because now looking back, even as a child, I was very interested in some of the computers and AIM and just networking in general. I'm a very gregarious person. I love being social. That's why my business is called Socially Stetson. Definitely the extrovert of the family.
Mm.
And when I was in college is right when the MySpace, the Facebook before it is what it is now as Meta came out. And it's so funny. I just really dove in and like studied it and learned it and played around with it. And it's funny because after I graduated, I didn't think anything of it becoming a career or me diving into it, because at the time when I graduated, there wasn't such a job as social media management. And but I was charging people freelance since I was 20 years old, 22 years old, graduating college,
Mm.
to help them set up Facebook business pages. I saw the importance of it right when it came out. And so for over 18 years now, almost 20, I've been helping people set up Facebook business pages and then just educating people as long as there were updates, because I would continue to update myself. And it wasn't until the pandemic, really, which wasn't that long ago,
Ah,
when I really was just at a pivot point. And I think I've talked to you about this before, but I had asked God, I've been doing social media as freelance for years now, and it was a job now. And instead of applying for 9-to-5 jobs, because I knew that wasn't fulfilling me, I knew I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I love the freedom and flexibility, and I really do put God first, family second,
mm.
and career third.
Right.
And I prayed about it and I asked God, this is funny, and I'll be specific because I think the audience would want to know specifics. I
Great.
reached out to my brother-in-law, actually, who is a Christian mentor in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a C-suite executive. And I said, what are your thoughts about me quitting to be an entrepreneur? And he's prayerful, said, have you prayed about it? He said, I think you should ask God 2 specific questions,
Mm.
signs that he should give you. And I'm not one to really test God and ask for signs, because typically they haven't worked for me. I know God's answer. But this time I was like, okay, let's test it out. And so I asked God, before I had even brought it out there in the open that I was going to do social media management, I said, I want at least 5 people to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook within the next 24 hours, just asking if I
Mm.
do social media management. Because I was like, God, if I have enough people knowing that they're interested, then I know I can build a business off of it. So I was like, I want 5 people within the next 24 hours. And then the next sign that I asked was, I knew my company that I was working for at the time was going through a huge merger,
Mm-hmm.
and I may or may not have a marketing position with them anymore. They wanted to keep me on board, but they weren't sure if it was going to be marketing. And I said, all right, dear Lord, I'm having a meeting at 2:00 tomorrow. I said, I just need to know that they don't have a marketing position open for me, because they were going to try to get me in one. And so those were the 2 things. Well,
Wow.
within 4 hours, 4 hours, I had 2 people reach out to me asking about social media management. And it was one of those things. One of them was my old college cheerleading coach. I
Mm.
can't even remember who the other one was, but I kind of looked up and laughed. I was like, okay, I know where this is going.
I
I
love
know
it.
where this is going, but I'm going to see you through this. God, you still have 24 hours, you know?
Yeah.
And so the next day, before my meeting had even started, I had 4 people who had reached out to me asking if I
Mm,
offered social media management, which was just funny to me
that is
because, like I said, I knew where it was going. So I knew getting on that call that they weren't going to have a marketing position open for me. But the funniest thing, Judy, was the very first words out of her mouth were, "Hey, Stetson, thank you so much for Zooming with me today. So unfortunately, we don't have a marketing position open for you." So God didn't even have me wait. It was the first thing that came out of her mouth. And they
Mm,
were offering me 6 figures and they were offering me a great job, but I actually knew it was a job that I would not enjoy.
mm.
It's not one that I think I would have succeeded in.
Yeah, so good.
And I'm a very loyal person. So I would have stayed with the company because I'm loyal and I'm a little bit of a people pleaser. So I don't want to disappoint people in leaving a company. So I would have never left on my own. But knowing that God answered those 2 signs, even though I didn't want to disappoint people, I definitely don't want to disappoint the Lord and
Amen.
his calling. And so I left that day and I have not looked back. And that is in a nutshell how this business started.
So good. And I'm just curious, like, had people reached out to you before this at all?
Not for social media management, because it was always consulting. Hey,
Mm,
can you teach me how to do this? Or can you create something for me? But there had never been conversation about, will you just do it for me? How much do you charge for that?
wow. So
That
good.
had never been conversation. It had never been something I had offered before.
And so God, just imagine this. This is just so good to sit for a second. Just imagine that the Lord God, like, put ideas in these 4 people's heads, like, and it quickened their thought to you. I mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
was just so good. Lord, you are
Like
just
my college cheerleading coach who I hadn't seen or spoken to in over 15 years.
yeah.
And so for him to reach out and ask, and then one of the other people was my bookkeeper, and he knew that, was keeping up with some of my finances and expenses from just consulting. But funny enough, he had a client who was in her late 50s, early 60s, who was a social media manager, but she was retiring and wanted to give her book of business to somebody she could trust.
Oh, wow.
And so I picked up 3 clients from that one phone call. And that's how my business got started.
Amazing. And God, obviously, he was in the fold all the way. So, so good. All right. So, the title of this thing is How to Stand Out in a
Mhm.
Crowded Market. And we know that things have shifted. We've been feeling this for probably going on 2 years now. So, when someone says, I like what I'm hearing from Stetson, like, what is your unique, what I say, zhuzh, what is your unique approach to your work?
I can't nail it down. I don't think there is a unique approach to what I do that
Mm,
makes me different. I just truly think I am different. God did not make anybody the same, even a set of identical twins. I mean, are completely different. Look at Cain and Abel. Hello. So it's, or they weren't twins, brothers, Jacob and Esau. There you go, twins. But
yeah.
we're all different. And I used an example at a speaking engagement the other day. And I asked the group, I said, how many of you like Jif peanut butter? Raise your
Mm,
hand. I said, how many of you like Peter Pan peanut butter? Raise your hand. I said, there's no others in my opinion. Like, this is what we'll go with. But I told a story of how one time when I was in college, I only buy Jif peanut butter and my roommate ate all my peanut butter. And she replaced it with Peter Pan peanut butter.
oh,
And I was
no.
like, no, this can't happen. I have to have my Jif peanut butter. And she just didn't get it. She was like, peanut butter is peanut butter. And I'm like, no, it's not. And it's because I like Jif. nostalgia for me. It's what I grew up on. I don't want to change it. A little bit of routine, but the point being is they look the same. They have the same purpose. They are doing the same thing. There's still going to be people that like Jif over Peter Pan and Peter Pan over Jif. And you can use that with any analogy. Toilet paper, for example. I will never forget another roommate. I prefer Charmin. She prefers Cottonelle. And it's just a thing because I talk with a lot of people who are, I'll use real estate for an example, and they feel like they don't have a zhuzh or a secret sauce. She's like, I'm just a mom. I'm married. I'll sell, in my neighborhood, in my houses. Like, I don't have anything different from the realtor down the street who's also a mom, married, and sells in these neighborhoods. And I say that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yes, amen.
And you might not know what the uniqueness is. Like, you might not have any idea what it is until you start showing up. And then you see what people like about you. So for me, I think one of the things that stood out early on for me was I showed up on Instagram and Facebook without makeup, I think before a lot of other people did.
Gotcha.
And I did that purposely for my own self-confidence, because I remember feeling some sort of way like I had to, and I didn't want to present myself as perfect ever. And so I think before authenticity on social media was a thing, I was doing that really early on. And so I think that's where a lot of people kind of connected with me from the beginning, because I remember women coming up to me like, I just don't know how you get on there without makeup, like right after a workout, girl. I'm like, yeah, because that's me and that's my life and that's how God made me. But then it also made other women connect with me and feel like they could trust me or know me more. And it helped give them a sense of confidence too. Like, hey, I could do that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do, but I think that was a secret sauce for me that I didn't realize at the time, but then you see through the messages. So for somebody out there who doesn't know what makes them unique and different right now, just show up and see what your audience is saying, see what they like about you. It could be the aesthetic of your house. It could be how sweetly you talk to your children. I know for my sister, that's kind of a thing for her. Like, she doesn't yell at her children's and she lets them just like come talk to her. She doesn't put them on camera, but she'll just talk to them and stuff and doesn't get bothered by them being in the room. And so that maybe sets her apart from some other mothers.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So for those out there who, well, a lot of my clients and me, there's like this love-hate thing going on when it comes to social. Like, I love social, but social has become, give me the money, honey, and then we'll push it out. Now, if the better your content is and the more you are, I firmly believe it will spread. But what would you say to someone like that? When we're talking about, here we are in a saturated market, no matter what space you're in, almost, right? So what would be the best advice for someone who has that love-hate thing, and almost every time they click the go button and they're doing a reel, there's this thing in the back of their mind? I'm talking to myself as I'm asking you the question. What would you say? What do you tell your clients?
Yeah, and this is funny because this has changed for me within the past year. The advice that I used to give is very different because of new features that social media, Facebook and Instagram have. So previously, a few years ago, I would have said, show more lifestyle and do like once every 6 posts, do a sales post or a business post. Now, what we're telling people to do is, I used to have a lifestyle Instagram page where I did business and me and all the things. Now I say your personal brand is you. So I have my Stetson K Patton page that has the most followers on it because that's what I've been using for my business. But now I have a Socially Stetson Instagram page, Facebook page as well, that I'm just doing kind of some business stuff on because of the new feature of collaboration. And I say that because if you're strategically using collaboration, your personal page to collaborate with your business page on the things, people will know, okay, this is a business pitch, sales pitch. Like, this is part of her business. This is what she does, but it's not who she is. And I got caught up in that in other jobs and stuff I know my identity is child of God, but I would really identify myself and put myself into my work and what I did. Like, I am this. And so I really had to sit and reflect on that and say, no, I don't want to be known as a social media manager. I don't want that on my tombstone when I die.
Okay.
She was the best social media manager out there. That's not what I want. I want my legacy to mean so much more than that. And so that's why my personal page now, I talk about working out, my histamine intolerance. I talk about dating right now as a single Christian woman, which is awful, hard. God bless me. But and then I will collaborate with my business page. So my business page is all business, but now because of the new feature of collaboration, we don't have to feel as salesy and icky because it's just like, hey, I'm going to post about this because it is what I do. But if you just want to follow my business, it can be on the business side of it. So if you don't like me personally, you don't have to follow me, but still follow my business, and kind of vice versa. Where before, that's not the strategy that we ever used to teach. And I think nobody's alone. I tell people if I could throw my phone in the ocean, sometimes I would. I do think you have to remember to actually be social. These people on the other end of that phone and screen are human beings. For example, today I got a DM. I used to be a college cheer and dance coach, and she only danced for me for one semester. But she said, hey, Stetson, I'm not sure if you remember me. I danced with you at this college and da-da-da. It was only for one semester. Da-da-da. I did remember her, and I actually remembered a story. And so I was like, I made sure to say, absolutely, I remember you. Remember that time that we did this? And I wanted that connection back. I didn't want her to feel like I didn't remember her. And I think a lot of times people forget to humanize people on social media. If you feel salesy and icky, the most powerful thing on social media is to click the three dots and say, I'm not interested in this type of content. And we teach a lot of mental health to our team clients. There's buttons and settings where you can just click on to only see people that are on your favorites or people that you follow. So there's no suggested post. And we don't do that every time, but there are lots of times when I do want to mindlessly scroll, but I don't want to go down doomsday. So I only scroll my favorites, which is usually my family and my best friends. So I feel good after scrolling and not icky after scrolling. So you do have to be mindful about your time.
Okay. So tell me how that is so good. And about the point of humanizing and understanding. I like to think of my best client. I picture her, one person, and that's who I'm talking to, so that it doesn't feel like I'm, screaming out to the great abyss. I am talking to someone. I understand who they are. I understand how she thinks, etc. So, and it's the idea they want to connect. Yesterday I did a reel when I was at the beach, and it was so windy, and it was just so fun. I am a beach girl through and through. I
Me
do
too.
not wear bikinis. Okay, my bikini days are done, but I am at the beach pretty much every day, and so that's so cool to just like say something.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that my best client needs to hear? So connection is so important.
Can I say something on that really quick? Because I do
yes.
want to point out, maybe this is a little coaching session for everybody on here. And you're saying humanize from the way that you talk and how you connect with your audience. But be mindful, that's not humanizing. That's still marketing. That's still a marketing strategy that you are using to grow your business and to connect with potential clients. Here's what I mean by humanizing, and this is so important. And whenever I work with a private client one-to-one, their very first assignment is to go comment on 100 people's post that they currently follow.
Ooh.
It takes time. It takes about an hour and a half. But when you get on your phone and you see somebody posted a picture, it's not a good quality picture. Their son's at T-ball, and they're like, we're so proud of our son for starting T-ball today. The majority, 99% of people are just going to like it and keep scrolling. If you are that person who humanizes it and says, okay, what would I do if Susie Q over here told me in real life, hey, my son started his first T-ball practice today.
Mhm.
You wouldn't just give a
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Right.
Hey, great, great. Humanize it. Take that person off the screen and pretend like they are standing right in front of you, telling you what they just posted. Because people post, the average person, we're entrepreneurs in here. So we sell. But when I watch what my friends post who are not entrepreneurs, they have 9 to 5 jobs. They're not starting side hustles or have businesses. They're using it to share their life and share who they are.
Mm.
And they don't see as much of the sales as we do. They actually enjoy social media more than we do because we get sold to a lot as entrepreneurs because that's the way the algorithm is. So when we comment, oh my goodness, Susie, I absolutely love that this was Tristan's first T-ball practice. How did he do? I would love to hear from you. We need to reconnect. That's what I mean by humanizing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Because it's the actually commenting. And this is what I tell people, and I think this is so important. You will make more money from social media for your business on thoughtful comments more than thoughtful posts.
I love that. And I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I see so many ladies killing themselves to, in their mind, come up with content. Actually, I believe you know what to say. You're allowing the enemy's lies to twist what you know, what you're the expert. But to your point, we need to be very specific on who am I connecting with? Because if we connect with our friends from high school and we're commenting on their posts, that's all well and fine. But I know I don't have time. I truly don't have time for that. Like, that may sound horrible, but I'm being really real here. Like, when I'm on social, I don't even use it for anything other than business. I have a team that does it, but even for me, it's like I approach it differently. Like, I text them or I do whatever. So I understand your point, and I believe that
it does need to be your ideal client.
Yes.
And then, but if you don't, also to get out of doomsday scrolling, just unfollow those high school people that you would never connect with. So there are strategies around it, but I'm saying if they're an ideal client, humanize them, comment on their stuff. We're addicted to our phones for a reason. It gives us that dopamine hit. Be the dopamine. Somebody doesn't know why that you make them feel good. All they know, they don't know that it's because you comment. They just know that it's because you make them feel good. And it's the law of reciprocation or
reciprocity.
That's it. People feel like they need to give you something if you've been giving them something. They don't really know what you've been giving them, but you've been giving them the dopamine hits of being addicted to our phones and social media, unfortunately.
So good. I will say to you, maybe somebody's out there saying it. If so, I didn't hear it. Be the dopamine. I love that. That's magic. Like, that's powerful stuff. All right. So as I'm looking at the clock, unfortunately,
I know.
I know. I want to talk about your amazing freebie, the B-roll video checklist. Can you tell us about this?
Super easy. I get asked all the time, I want to be on video. I don't know how to do video. And people try to overthink it. I have a B-roll checklist. We send this to all of our clients right when they first start with us. It's just 20 ideas, the 20 videos that we want from our clients that we know creates engaging content back. It's easy. It's just a checklist and it comes with ideas of how I've used these, and it's absolutely free. Feel free to download the freebie and ask me questions about it if you have any.
That's awesome. And everything is in the show notes where you can connect with Stetson, also her podcast. Okay. So as we wrap up, what is maybe a pearl of wisdom or some advice? Just anything that you'd love to be remembered by, from the audience.
Thank you. I like to say it is my responsibility. God has given me this message to put that we need to be online socialites. I truly believe if Paul were alive here in person, he would be going live on TikTok and Instagram all day, every day. He would be using it as his platform. There is so much evil. Satan is alive and active on these social media platforms. You may be the only Christ-like figure that people get to see on their social media that day. And that's why it's important to show up.
Ooh, wow. Okay. That underscores. Oh, I don't feel like it, Judy. I'm having a bad hair day. Okay. What would Jesus do? What would Paul do? That is so good, Stetson. Listen, thank you so much for being here. I knew this would be a packed episode and you came through 1,000%. So thank you, sister.
Thank you so much, Judy. I can't wait to your podcast airs this week. So I can't wait to see how my audience takes it in. I love it so much. And I know we will speak again.
Absolutely. I hope to see you at the live event. All
Yes.
right, sisters, have a beautiful rest of your day. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and reach out to me at Judy Weber Co. If you have an amazing guest, I want to know about it. If you have a topic, you're like, hey, Jude, why did you not address this? Let me know. Until then, see you next time.